I went from essentially complete beginner cyclist to racing a World Cup within a year and a half. Hi, my name is Orla. I'm an ex-professional track cyclist, and these are 5 items I can't live without. Okay, so the first item is my bicycle, of course. This was the first bike I bought myself. It's mid-range, but it's lower to mid-range. So I think it cost $1,500. Now, a lot of people watching might say, oh, well, that's really expensive, but that's entry-level price now for a bike. My other bike that I have could range up to, 15 grand. I have an unusual background in cycling in that I only started when I was 26. I started commuting into work on my bike. My dad actually gave me his old bike and really encouraged me to start riding. It really helped with my anxiety levels. I always felt like before I was probably using unhealthy methods to manage my stress. I joined Orwell Wheelers. There were a lot of other women cyclists that I met there. One including Orla Hendren, who was really big on pushing women's sports and getting more women into cycling and getting more women into racing. And she encouraged me to try my first race. Kind of threw myself in the deep end, but that first race I actually podiumed. In the same year, I applied for a talent transfer with Cycling Ireland. To my surprise and horror, I was actually selected out of all of that bunch. They said they tested maybe 100 athletes from around the country, and I was picked in the top 8. I went from essentially complete beginner cyclist to racing a World Cup within a year and a half. Pretend this is matcha. I forgot to bring the matcha, my bad. I'm a matcha snob. So I only want the pure ceremonial grade organic matcha, just matcha. Some people think it tastes like grass, but I guess I like grass. I feel like matcha is a love-hate relationship. Either people really, really love it, or they just absolutely not. They taste it once and they hate it and never again. I actually got into matcha because I found I was drinking way too much coffee to the point where I was making myself anxious again. It has caffeine in it still, but it's slow release, so it doesn't give you that kind of anxious kind of feeling the way coffee does. You still feel good, you still feel alert, but without the racing heart rate. And this is my third item, Nobo chocolate. These guys are great. Nobo, if anyone doesn't know how to speak Irish, Bo is cow, so it's no cow. So it's a vegan plant-based chocolate. It's my favorite plant-based chocolate, and I spend half of my income on this chocolate because I'm addicted to it. Recovery days, I would have my matcha and my chocolate, and then if I'm being honest, I would eat one of these every day. I'm eating an extra 630 calories every day in chocolate. This is my fourth item, tofu. People always ask me, Orla, where do you get your protein from? Because I've been vegan for 7 years now. So the main sources that I would get my protein from in my meals, tofu, but I also really enjoy seitan, not a lot of people know that, and tempeh, which is it's like tofu on steroids. People always ask me, did I notice any difference between when I was not plant-based and when I was plant-based as an athlete? I wasn't super focused on my diet before I was vegan, if that makes sense. Whereas when I switched to a plant-based diet, I was hyper-focused on making sure that I did it right. I got sick way less after I became vegan. I wasn't as run down. I actually was a slightly healthier weight. So I think people have a preconception that you can't get enough energy from, you're gonna be a weak vegan. That's just not true, you just have to eat more. I have been wearing different varieties of barefoot shoes for the last probably 6 years. It was around, I think, COVID time. I started wearing these mostly because it helped in the gym. I found with doing squats to feel the ground, and it made it less likely that I was going to injure myself, and I was able to get more range of motion. So I think we're a bit behind when it comes to cycling shoes specifically. All the cycling shoes are very tight, and you're strapping your feet into the bike. My feet at the end will be just honestly in agony. It's just having them in that tight, hard box for hours and hours really is probably not good for your feet. I'm Orla Walsh, and these are the 5 items I can't live without.